Okay, so while I'm playing Star Wars Unlimited recently, I thought I would throw in the ring a tier list here on card games that I have played in the past. I'm pretty sure that I got them all. I'm sure as the video goes on, one will pop in my head. Oh yeah, I played that one, right? So the categories are take my money, which is basically like Magic. You can't live without this card game. It is the stuff, man. Slow collection me is pretty close, but you're not willing to shell out the money to keep the game going or collect it. Once in a draw is a card game that's like fun, but not like it's a once in a while type of thing. Held Back is a card game that like had such a really good idea, but ultimately like the mechanics are not good. And Doomed to Start is just card games that are dreadful and boring and simply not worth the time. So let's start off with Warhammer Conquest. It's the first Doomed to Start. Um, it had the factions, and it was trying to capture that tabletop version of the miniature game. Hang on a sec, because my nose decides, hey, I'm filming a video. Let's be annoying. Oh man, why does this do that every time? It must know. Must know. Um, the artwork's great. The This is done by Fantasy Flight Games. This is no longer around. It was, I don't know, 5, 7 years ago. I think this came out, and I demoed it. I tried it, at the gaming store, and and the mechanics are what drags it down. Um, and unfortunately, because of that, it just is unplayable. Um, I mean, to me, I didn't like the whole way that the gameplay went, and I think with Warhammer, you stick with the tabletop version because that's what made Warhammer. I don't believe that Warhammer should be a card game. I don't believe Warhammer should end up in Magic the Gathering, which they're probably going to do anyway. Um, but yeah, Conquest unfortunately missed the mark and was doomed to start, and it didn't last long. I think it had a couple sets that came out, and then it tanked. So yeah, Warcraft, the card game, take my money. I loved this game. It's been dead for a long time, but I love this game. Uh, I love it above Magic the Gathering. It had like all the really cool themes. It had all the characters from the Warcraft game, and I love the heroes and the way that the resource management. You could use your cards from your hand to use as resources, which you never got mana screwed or resource screwed, which Magic has. Unfortunately, it had so many different kind of mechanics. The problem was what brought it down is when the company, can't remember what they were called, but it was originally, I think it was originally Upper Deck, and then, oh man, for the life of me, I can't remember the company, but eventually it started to lose its innovation and everything, and died off, and that's unfortunate because it lasted for a while. It lasted for a bunch of sets, and they had automated boss decks by the end of it, which were really neat. It had early on, it had boss decks where one player plays the boss with their deck and everything, and that was awesome. It had all these really cool, you know, cards and combinations that you could do. It was like magic a lot of the time. But I really loved it. It was a fantastic game. I wish it was still going. Unfortunately, I guess all things come to an end. Magic seems to go on forever because it's magic and it's wizards, but whatever. But Warcraft is going to be a big memory there. I love that game. I wish someone would make a digital thing of it because I'd be like, I'm playing that shit. But I guess we gotta wait until that happens. I mean, they have Hearthstone, but that doesn't even compare to the original digital card or the original actual card game at all. All right, the new kid on the block, Star Wars Unlimited. Take my money. Now I understand currently that it's dying off, which is a shame. And I think it's going to end up being the same like another Star Wars game on here that I loved very much, which was the Wizard of the Coast Star Wars game, it's again the problem is that Magic Gathering it's like D&D. Nobody wants to try any new card games unless there's like a huge IP behind it, like Final Fantasy, right? But any kind of like that's the problem with the Star Wars card games in the past. Like I didn't put the Cipher one on here because it's really not worth it. But there are two other Star Wars games in here, I believe. Yes. But Star Wars Unlimited is good. I like the mechanics. It reminds me a lot of the previous Wizards game. It's fast. It's cool. I like how you have a hero. You know, they have the two different like space and ground. It's simple to pick up, and you could do a lot of cool combinations with it, and all that kind of stuff. I hope that it picks up more. I hope that it keeps going. I really do, because fuck Magic at this point. I'm being honest. Yes, I play Magic Arena, but when I get to Magic, I'm gonna rant on that. Just wait. But Stars Unlimited, take my money. I really like it. I like the mechanics of it and everything, and deck building is really cool. So go with that. Star Wars: The Living Card Game, which came out, I don't know, 7 years ago or more, something like that. They had elements of Unlimited in there, like outposts and stuff, which I recall. But the gameplay was so mechanically flawed that held it back. It could have been such a cool game. Um, it was more like I think they concentrated more with the Force. They have a little bit of that in Unlimited, but it's more simplified. So stuff that was in the Star Wars Living Card game, I think they've really knocked it out of the park with Star Wars Unlimited to make it a lot better, a lot more easy and fast to play through. Where Star Wars Living Card game, I think they tried to put too much into one game and it kind of held it back, which is unfortunate. And there were mechanics there that were cool, but it wasn't enough, in my opinion, to keep going. And unfortunately, it didn't last very long. I think maybe a couple of packs or whatnot, but I think it died after a couple of years. So unfortunately, that's it's going to be one of those games that was innovative, but not enough there. Talking Netrunner, the living card game, I got to put that in once in a draw. And I got to rant about this game because I really liked it. I really liked that they took like the old Netrunner game, which we'll get to, and made it better. Um, but the problem with it was that the company got ahead of themselves, and then the design of some of the cards and mechanics became just unfortunately like what the hell, and then it died out because a lot of the people got tired of it. Like it just ended up not keeping that innovation, and keeping the players of it happy enough with the innovations. And that's unfortunately on the company there that killed Netrunner. Would I play it again? Sure, once in the blue moon if I had any other decks still. But it's a once in a draw. It was a really good game to start, but it didn't finish well, and it did last for a while. I think a couple of years. But by the end, it was just ran itself out, and that was it. Lord of the Rings, the living card game. I'd put that in slow collection. I like it. I like the mechanics of it. I like that it's a cooperative game and you're trying to stop Sauron and there's these different scenarios and all that. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to keep up with it because, well, I need money for bills. So this one here, I'm way behind on sets and everything and playing it, and unfortunately, but I think it's cool. I think it's a really good concept. I am not entirely sure if it's still going. It could be. Have a look at it. But the game itself is really neat. If especially if you like Lord of the Rings and all that, you're definitely going to gravitate towards this game. What's cool about it and what's cool about these living card games is that you buy the deck packs and you have the whole cards. You don't have to, it's not like a trading card game where you got to buy the boxes to get the cards you want. That's what's really the difference between TCGs and living card games is living card games are better in card collection in that respect, where you get everything. So Lord of the Rings putting in second place. I think it's a really cool game. I'd be down to playing it again when and if that ever comes up. I think it's solid. Netrunner, the old one, I'm going to put in Held Back. It was cool. It has basically the same mechanics as the Fantasy Flight version, but the innovation killed it. They, by the end, um, I think that they just ran out of steam, much like the Fantasy Flight version, and that's unfortunate because its concept was cool. So in Netrunner, you basically have a runner player and a corporate player. And depending on kind of like what kind of deck you have, you basically one or the other has to beat the other. Where the runner is basically hacking into the corporation and trying to get points enough to win, where the corporation's trying to kill the runner doing it and or whatever. And I thought that its mechanics were really cool. Like it had these cards called walls that the runner had to go up and hack against, and the corporation had like Genteki was probably my favorite corporation deck to have because it pretty much was based upon damaging the runner and what they call brain damage. So the health would be the runner's deck or hand. Yes, it would be their hand. And if you did enough damage past whatever they had in their hand, you could flatline them. If I recall the rules properly, but really cool concept there, and it's a shame that Netrunner just didn't take after a while, and so much of the cards from the old one are were in the new set, and then obviously the Fantasy Flight version had newer cards, so it was cool. Legend of the Five Rings, I gotta put in Held Back, not because of the game itself, but it's because of like it was boring to me, unfortunately. Love the artwork. Love the a very interesting political. You could win like different ways. It's kind of a while since I played it. It's you can basically have aggression, like attack. There's the political side where I think you had to um, win through points or something. Like it's got different ways that you can win, and depending on your how your deck's built. Um, but it wasn't a game for me, unfortunately. It just kind of like was. It is what it is. Sometimes games just don't click for you. As a whole, I think if you want an interesting and different card game, check that out. I don't think it's around anymore. You'll have to like hunt cards down for it. There's the original Legend of the Five Ring cards, which are good luck finding those. But the Fantasy Flight version, you probably can still find somewhere online, somewhere, eBay or whatever. So Arkham Horror, the card game, is going. Take my money. I am behind on sets, man, and it's pissing me off because I want to get back to like collecting the campaigns and all that. It's just the other side is I don't have room for all the cards, right? I collected up to I think the Excelsior Hotel scenario. which is like I think 7 campaigns, I guess, in, which is a lot. What I love about this game is that it's a cooperative game where you play investigators and you're going through these campaigns. And if you survive, you can upgrade your deck between scenarios to better your deck to make it better. And I love that. It's like an RPG um, fantasy card game, and it's the best one that I've ever seen. Imagine they made a D&D card game like that. I'd be down, honestly. It's got a really cool mechanic on how you upgrade your character deck, and I think that's fantastic. And you can't just put like every card in. You have to actually build up enough experience to put these specific cards in that you want because they cost experience points. And fantastic game, and I recommend it. It's fun. It's still going, as far as I know. It's still strong. Um, check Arkham Horror, the living card game out. Probably, if you're looking at the core set, it's probably very expensive, like all the other older core sets or older sets to find them, but they're out there. Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm gonna put in. That's tough. It's between Take My Money and Slow Collection. I'm gonna put in Slow Collection. It is fun. I would choose it over Magic actually because I love the mechanics of it, where you have trap cards, you have them flip down, and whenever an opponent does something, you flip these trap cards up and they do whatever. There's different deck types, of course, you can build with the cards. I like the uniqueness of the health. They say it's kind of the same in Magic, where you take out your opponent's health and they lose. There's other ways that you can like win the game. Like one is if you have 5 cards of this creature in your hand, you win the game. That's hard to do, but um, possible. There's another way where if you have like 5 of these specific cards in play, you win the game. But it's really cool. Like the I guess monsters or um, they have a unique system where you can combine cards to make like a badass card, come out. Really love that mechanic. Like for instance, you combine 2 cards and you come out with this blue eyes dragon that comes into play and starts wrecking stuff. And I really like that. The kind of the merge of cards. And I believe Pokemon. I haven't played Pokemon, that's why it's not on here. But I think Pokemon is kind of the same. You can write in the comments there. I'm not entirely 100% sure of that, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a really cool game. It's just there are other games higher above it that I would basically say take my money. All right, the versus system once in a while. It's cool. It's Marvel, and I think it's I think it's Marvel only. I can't remember. It's a cool little superhero battle game. I didn't play like a lot of it, but had a good time with it. I at the time when I played it, HeroClix was still a game. For those that remember that, I mean that's not on here because it's not a card game. But yeah, if you want a superhero card game, there the one that I didn't put on here is Marvel Champions because I physically haven't played it. I have played it online, but I'm not going to count that because it only has the base set, so I couldn't really divulge deep into it. But Marvel Champions is cool, but that's more of a cooperative game, which is cool. Versus is obviously a versus. That's fine. Star Wars, the TCG, the Wizards of the Coast game. Take my money. That was a fantastic game. It's dead, long since dead now, but it's had like online support of new cards from this one site. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like the Star Wars Forge or something, where they continued to come out with sets for you to collect. I loved it because it's like you have three characters, ground and space, much like Star Wars Unlimited, where it's got space and ground. But the idea was to control two of the three areas, and you had to wipe out all the units in the two of three areas. And they had a dice mechanic with like attacks and stuff, and they had events and missions and battle cards and missions. Loved it. If I ever get like, the sad thing is, I had a collection of that in a binder, right? And I traded in my Magic the Gathering cards at the time, getting rid of Magic, like just selling my whole collection there. And one of the binders, unfortunately, was the Star Wars card game, and I had not realized it until much later. And I'm like, oh my god, I kick myself for that every time because I would have definitely kept that. I had like some of the awesome cards there, the Bounty Hunter cards. I had like Darth Vader. I had all those guys. And I'm so sad that, like, unfortunately, I'll never be able to play that game again because I would play it now. It was an awesome game. I've looked online even for like old sets or anything. They're either too expensive or you can't find them, which is unfortunate. But I'd be up all in it. I would play that over the Warcraft game, even though the Warcraft game is fantastic. Because yeah, but Star Wars TCG Wizards of the Coast was a great game. It lasted for a long time. It was a competitive thing against Magic, and I loved it. Really cool game. It's too bad it's gone. Overpower is once in a draw. Superhero card game. Again, this one I remember a lot more than Versus, but it's pretty much the same where you have a group, you're trying to defeat each other, and you're playing cards, and it's more. What's cool about it is that you can attack with cards, and then an opponent can block with cards, and it's kind of like an interesting mechanic in there. I remember like some really cool like team setups with like X Babies and Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider was awesome because he would like, obviously wreck stuff with fire and whatnot. So in fact, Overpower is an inspiration for my 11-year card game that I did construct over a long period of time. Maybe one day I'll you get a peek behind that game because it's been dormant for 8 years because I haven't got a group that unfortunately would play around where I am, and it would be awesome to do that again. But it is what it is. But Overpower was cool for its time. I would play it again if I ever got a chance, just for fun. It had its time. Star Trek TCG. That's going to be once a draw. It's cool mechanics where you have okay, so let's try and remember the rules here. So you pick like Klingons or the Federation, and you build your kind of deck around that, and you have characters that you can like board the ship, and then you can beam down to planets, and then they have like the every so from what I remember, it's like a whole bunch of planets from left to right. These are cards, and then players put under it called dilemma cards. So these are to stop your opponent from conquering planets. And I believe you win by a collection of points or something like that, right? And you can attack other ships, and then your characters on those ships have like certain skills that they can do to help you with that and help you pass dilemmas there. There was one dilemma card I remember like getting every fucking time. So what it did, because let's say you're on the far left side, this card basically would force you to travel your ship all the way, not stopping to go to the other side, and you couldn't do anything else other than that. And it was such a piss off of a dilemma to get by. It was like one of the worst. They had other dilemmas where like it would like corrode your ship, like your ship would start taking damage over time. unless you had like I think it was an engineer character card on your ship that prevented the sickness from killing your ship. But it had a lot of unique ideas, and it was very unique in how the gameplay went out. They had cue cards. If you know your Star Trek lore, I mean, if you love Star Trek, you probably will dig this game. I mean, it's long since dead, but it was good for its time. It lasted quite a long time. A friend I once knew, he went to a bunch of tournaments and he was telling me all about it and how he won with like these decks that he made, and it's all good. I played it for a short, brief time. Didn't really get into it all heavy like a friend of mine did, but it was good for its time. Uh, I'd play it again if that opportunity ever came up. So, oh my God, Magic the Gathering. I am putting that in held back. Call me crazy, okay? For those that don't know my history with Magic, I began all the way back in beta, and that's how old I am. And what I liked about Magic at the time, up until probably the Theros box set, which was probably 2010 or something when that came out, was the innovation of Wizards and how each set came out and they had different keywords and they had different monsters and or creatures and they had different innovations and different types of cards and artifacts. And for those that know what I'm talking about with Magic the Gathering, and that what was really cool. I mean, they had some shit sets like what was that second one they had? Fallen Kingdom or something. That was one of the worst sets ever. They had Ice Age was okay from some of the old ones I remember. They had the Arabian Nights box set, which was cool. The cards were there okay. Some were really good, and they had some really neat cards and some really strong original cards like Time Walk, which cost you 2 resources, blue resources, and you take another turn after your turn. That would be so dirty in today's rules. Like you could exploit that so bad. But yeah, I even played like the Rise of the Planewalker video game adaptions there. I mean, they weren't the greatest, but they were still like some of the cards in there were cool. I'm playing Magic Arena, yes, every once in a while, as you've seen on my channel there, and I stick with like some of the older cards to make decks with. Some of the newer ones, But here's the thing. This is why I put Magic held back, especially now. Oh my God, this nose is pissing me off. I apologize. I want to get this video out. Okay, so here's Magic's problem. Hasbro. When Hasbro took Wizards over, or whatever the case, Wizards took Hasbro over, whatever the hell, their innovation plummeted, specifically with Magic, in my opinion, because the innovation went out the door. Nowadays, all they're pulling in like Avatar, Transformers, The Walking Dead, like all these IPs, just slap artwork on a card. That's the same fucking creature, same card that does the same thing 5 sets before it. Give a creature +1, +0. Destroy target creature. There's no innovation in these sets that have come out. And of course, you're going to have Magic the Gathering loyalists argue the fact, oh, it's the best game in the world. No, it isn't. It's fun, but I'd rather play other shit. If I had the choice, I'd rather play other card games. Star Wars Unlimited right now. I'd play that over Magic right now. And I am. Magic has gone on for a long time. And when a card game goes on a long time, it loses its luster and eventually, unfortunately, dies out. Well, because Wizards is like Disney in the card game world, Magic the Gathering will never die unless there's some kind of miracle. Or Magic kind of resets itself and goes back to basics and basically says, hey, we got to innovate a little more than just slapping Optimus Prime on a fucking card and calling it a creature. Bringing back that would make Magic so much better because the original idea was cool and it's a concept that remains, it's the simplest game out there to play. It doesn't have the most convoluted rules. It's kind of like the argument with D&D 5e. Anyone could get into the game, but the problem is the innovation's all gone. So that's why Magic the Gathering I'm putting in hold back. It's fun, but I'd rather play other shit. And I get, and the other thing about Magic too is it's very unbalanced. It's always had that problem. If you're rich and you can afford and get all the best cards possible, the most strong OP cards, you win. And it's not, and there are people that play the casual way, sure, but there are a lot of overpowered cards, and especially when you combine them with other cards. And especially you've been a Magic veteran, like you just smoke everybody, and it's no fun that way. Like I've played in some local tournaments, nothing crazy, okay? Or I played casual, and the players that I did play with at the time were just like they have to win every time. They cannot lose. And when you have a lot of players like that, it's no fun to play them. So that's one reason I got out of it. And the other reason is because Wizards stopped being innovative and I stopped collecting after Theros. Again, yes, I play Magic Arena now, but I like play online and then I test decks against the stupid AI, which is the video you saw. I think I've only put up one video of me actually playing Sparky, the AI opponent, but um, it is what it is. And so that's why it's Magic's on held back. Say what you want. I think Magic Gathering has lost all its innovationness, and I don't care if it would die. That's all I got to say about that. Great Iron is a very interesting card game. I got to throw that in once in a draw. So, for those that don't know this card game, it was a card game. Upper Deck came out with a football card game called Gridiron, where you had a like a football field on a flimsy paper. It was colorful, sure, and you played kind of like football. You had four quarters, and you have your player cards down, and what was cool about the game is that it would have cards where you play dirty. So like you bribe the coach card or you inject sterns into the one player and they get strong all of a sudden so they can get by tackles and it had really cool things. Probably one of my favorite cards. What the hell was the name of it? It was like piss the fans off or something. And what the card did was it pretty much like quote unquote injured a coach or a player, taking them out of the whole rest of the game. Um, you know, it was a funny, very actually fun football card game at the time, and it lasted for a little bit, but then eventually, it died out. But for its time, it was very entertaining. I remember me and a friend of mine bought like all these boxes at the one store the one time, and we got all the cards, and we were playing and all that. It was cool. So it had its moment in the sun for me. I think that's one of my favorite unique kind of card games that came out in 40 years. So, yeah. All right, Ascension. Ascension is a deck building game. Um, you can play. It's a competitive one. Um, held back. Like the mechanics were interesting. The deck building side was interesting, but playing it, I get bored. Um, you pay to buy cards, of course, and then it's all pretty much like points. and whoever gets the most points at the end of the game wins. It's just that playing a game here and there, it's just a game that I would kind of get bored after a while. It had multiple sets come out. I don't know if it's still going today. You'd have to check that out. The artwork's really good. It is can be fast of a game, but for a deck building game, it doesn't hold up for me as well as it should. It's kind of a fantasy-ish type of theme, but in the end, it yeah, unfortunately fails in that sort of deal. BattleTech. I'm gonna put that in slow collection. BattleTech was a cool game with mechs. Your deck is your life, and you deploy these mechs that can either protect your base, which is your deck, or it could be out in the field, kind of trying to pick off other mechs that are trying to move in on your turf. It was really cool because you had some mechs that could shoot missiles over and not attack the unit directly. You could have missiles attack the deck directly. Those were dangerous ones to have. You had these like pilots that you could add to the mechs to get buff them with different things. And the resource system was fairly, was like Magic essentially, where you had you could only um, pay for cards if you had certain type of resources out. What was cool about that though was like, for instance, there's a mech that would be like because there were lettered resources like P for power, E for innovation, or something like that. So there was like, let's say a mech would be 2P and one regular resource. So you would have to have the 2P letters and then use any other resource. So in that way, it was kind of neat on kind of how they tried to do a resource system like that. I mean, that kind of slows the game down a little bit, but if you build your deck good enough, you probably don't have to worry about that. But it was a really interesting, innovative kind of game with mechs, and I really enjoyed it when it was out. The problem that killed it was its third set, I believe, um, that totally reworked the game mechanics and all these really stupid keywords and just killed the game. And yeah, it died like really fast. I think it maybe lasted a year or two and then it was done. But otherwise, I would play it again. It's a really cool mech battle game. Yeah. So, Force of Will, doomed to start. I have to put that in, doomed to start. Um, it lasted a while, but the problem with Force of Will is that it copied Magic. Essentially, like a lot of the mechanics were like that. There's some things that were different, but Force of Will, I played it and I was like, this is way too much like Magic, and it's like you're not really innovating a lot here, and it's kind of like, why am I playing it? Artwork was really good. There's some concepts that were different for it, but there wasn't enough there for me to really follow into it, and eventually the Force of Will did die out. So. Legendary. So Legendary is actually a series. So they have Legendary Marvel, Legendary DC, Legendary Aliens, Legendary Predator. So these are deck building based type of games. I think you could integrate different universes into the same game, but I can't remember. Um, Once in a draw. So it's a deck building system, but a lot better than Ascension. And you basically are like using, let's say, Marvel characters or Alien characters or whatever there, and you're building up your deck to defeat your opponent. Um, its mechanics were simple, strong enough, and it did have a point to why you're building your deck up to reach your end goal. Whereas Ascension's more about your points. So yeah, it's there. It's not one of the ones that I would like, oh, let's play it. If I see all these games, I would probably choose something else. But it had its moment in the sun for me, and that ends the video for my tier list of card games that I have played, and I can't think of any other ones that I have played that I forgot to put on here. And if I did, then they probably weren't that memorable. Um, but there you have it. Let me know in the comments on some of these games if you've played them, what you think of them. Um, I know there's probably people that love Force of Will or love Conquest, but these are just my personal opinions about it. I know there's a lot of Magic the Gathering players that would be like, "Oh my God, you didn't put Magic the Gathering at the top." No, I did not. Plus, the other negative of Magic the Gathering is very expensive if you keep up the hobby. You have to be rich or have money that you can burn. I think the sets nowadays are like $500 or something like that. It's crazy talk. No thanks. I go cheap. All right, that's my video. Have a good day. Don't forget to give a like to this video there, and you can leave comments on what your favorite card game is. Living card game, trading card game, whatever it is. Anyway, see ya.